This is the GT crew. We're here playing some Animal Crossing, and it's another episode of The Depths, and we're going to talk about this amazing game that will not end. I mean, technically, we can make these episodes for, a full 365 days and still be relevant because there's still more content. But I'm joined by Mr. Ben Moore, Mr. Daniel Bloodworth, and Mr. Kyle Bosman.
Yeah, and we should mention that we actually did record this once, but just kind of lost it due to a technical mishap.
But then
we don't need to mention that. We don't.
I had told people we were recording it, and it never came out.
Yeah.
So
don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, unfortunately, none of these people have the amazing beard of Jamie Kohler, but.
Yeah, well, it's funny because there's actually a lot of people that we could have had on this panel. Because there's a lot of us in the office that are playing this game, so it's kind of fun to not be stressed about visiting someone's house and knowing that Bloodworth's house is always on my 3DS and I can check it anytime I want and see the updates.
I've actually learned to unlike the Street Pass Plaza, I've learned to not go and check out people's houses every day because it takes a lot of time and
are you kidding?
People don't really change their houses that much. So like once a week I'll pop in and it's like, oh wow, your space room has gotten huge now. So that's pretty cool.
So you have undoubtedly played this game more than anybody else in the office.
I got the badge for the 500 hours.
Oh, wow.
I will qualify that, though. I have not actively sat here playing it for 500 hours. What I will do is, generally, if I'm at home, whenever I'm done for the day, I'll just pop my gate open and leave my gate open, all day long, on the weekends. And, people will come and visit me. I usually get at least one person that I interact with online every day, so.
That's cool. And I kind of like it, just sitting on my desk if I have it plugged in charging. It's kind of nice to just go sit on a bench and look at a waterfall, have that aesthetically in the background. It was even kind of calming. You were just playing.
Do you realize that's insane? No game makes you do that. No game before, I think, would ever have you just I have my 3DS on, I'll open it up, and just while I'm just hanging out.
Yeah, like Luigi's Mansion, you wouldn't appreciate aesthetically. This hallway's really
I don't
nice.
know, I might do that with Rayman. Just leave that on the monitor while I have the TV going.
but it is, there is no other game like it. I mean, Harvest Moon, I think, maybe has a little bit of kind of what this game captures, but are there any other games that do what this thing does? I mean, we're talking about this, how long has it been?
It's been 3 months for me, probably about 2.5 for the rest of you. I don't know how long
you don't have to rub it
Ben's
in,
been playing.
I played it a lot. I reviewed it for another place. And
okay. So you got it at launch?
Yes, yep. And I've been playing it for a while. And it was my first Animal Crossing, actually. I had always heard, it's really, really relaxing. But I had, an incredible amount of anxiety with it, right? Because everyone was like, oh, you can just play it for, an hour a day. And
Not entirely true.
I would always get distracted by stuff, right? So I'd be like, okay, well, I'm just going to do this one thing. And then I'd go and be like, oh, well, I might as well pick up this fruit. I might as well dig these fossils. Well, now I have these fossils, and, I might as well go donate them. And before I know it, 3 hours have passed, and I'm like, oh, Animal Crossing. But I loved it, so it was okay.
What's funny is none of that stuff is required. You don't have to advance. You're like, oh,
right.
I really need that second room. And it's like, you don't. It's fine. You could totally get by without it. It's just your desire to get stuff faster, is kind of what really drives you.
Kyle's in a little bit of a different position. He's also a first-timer, but you kind of haven't kept up with it as much. Where are you at with it?
Now I'm a very occasional drop-inner, and I'll stop in and see how everything's going. Today I just learned that my museum has expanded.
Nice.
That paid off.
Wow.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you very much. But generally, yeah, I feel like I've spent my time with Animal Crossing. I've seen the things that I wanted to see, and I like it. I like it a lot more than I ever thought I would. Because I don't like The Sims. I don't even like Harvest Moon that much. There's something different about Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I think it is sort of that. There's this weird balance of there's as much pressure as you kind of put on yourself, right?
Yeah.
You don't really have a pressure to go back day after day unless you're maybe doing something making hybrid flowers or something to where you don't want your flowers to wilt. But even that, you can put the Beautiful Town ordinance and keep any flowers from wilting. So it's really just a matter of, what your kind of your own personal goals are.
And actually mine were a lot, I was role-playing the mayor pretty hard. Whereas everyone else was kind of building up their house, I spent almost no money on my house because I thought that was being greedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was basically putting all my money into public works because I thought that was my responsibility. Then, no one really encouraged that. Everyone in the town's just like, hey, your house sucks. I'm like, wait, what do you mean?
Well,
I just built a lamppost for you.
The game would
I
never
haven't actually
chide you.
paid off mine either.
The game would never say you're a bad mayor, would it? Is there any condition where where Isabel would scold you for something?
You kind of have the tutorial period where you have to get your approval rating up before you can do anything, which is sort of a hump for people, I think. I think Elisa's been having a hard time with that.
That's so funny. That happened so fast for me, the approval rating part.
Yeah.
I think because I was very dedicated to make sure everyone was happy in my town.
But yeah, I had a set of things that I wanted in my town. You know, it took forever to get the windmill. It was like the last thing that villager could request.
Yeah.
By the time I got it, you know, and so now like there's a couple of things maybe that I would want in my town, but I've got my town pretty much where I'd want it. I'm trying to think of ways that I could actually play less or walk less so that my grass will grow back because the grass wears pretty bad.
This is a really funny thing. Is that's the only thing that Daniel Bloodworth is dissatisfied about his town is is that he's walked around it so much that the grass is worn out and now it's mostly dirt because you've walked.
It's not mostly. I have seen people that look like Fern Gully wastelands in their towns with just brown and
Great
tree
pull.
stumps.
I like that reference.
But it's funny. The solve is stop playing the game, isn't that? If you
It
stop
is.
playing for
Actually,
a couple
yeah.
weeks,
People that have thought they would never time travel, you know, by you set your clock forward in the 3DS, have been time traveling just to make their grass grow back. They'll go 2 months forward and then 2 months back, and then
Whoa.
get their grass back.
I feel like Animal Crossing has revealed like some deep dark secrets about myself that maybe like I didn't admit before. Like, so my biggest problem and the reason I stopped playing the game is like I would go to the store and no matter what it was, I didn't care how it looked. I just wanted to buy everything. And I was like,
No, I mean,
I'm gonna be able.
There's badges for that, so people get into.
Oh yeah, and I was like, I'm just gonna buy everything. And so I stopped playing the game because I ran out of storage space and I was unwilling to sell anything. So I guess Animal Crossing has taught me that like I'm just this disgusting hoarder.
You're
and
disgusting.
I turned it off.
Most things will end up in your catalog though, so you can reorder them. And so that's the thing, like the people that are
I don't think that
into
helps.
completing their catalog, like the GameFAQs community is kind of crazy in that like they have this whole economy going on and like people have, you know, like dupes and tons of bells and stuff. So from what I've been hearing, like people will give you like literally like 50,000 bells just to like pick up an object and give it back to you, so it goes into their catalog. You know, that's also where the crazy like slave trading is going on, where people will pay 40 million for freaking character.
That's
know?
insane.
So,
Like I think
What kind of
that-
character costs 40 million?
I think it's Marshall.
What is Marshall?
Marshall, I think he's a dog. But there's a unicorn that's been going for like 20 million bells.
I could
you know.
understand paying big money for a unicorn.
Yeah.
Oh, good
Yeah.
to know. I got if that unicorn comes into my town.
Yeah,
it's
if he
just,
starts-
it's just totally random. So is there rarity to the unicorn? Is
I
there
mean,
rarity to certain
there's like
characters?
something like 300 or 400 villagers and only 10 that can
That's
be in
it?
your town at a time.
There are 300 villagers?
Yeah.
Whoa. Honestly, I thought it was like 48. I thought it was a really small
Well, a lot
number.
of some of
I
the
think there's
different
more than
skins.
48 just in the Animal Crossing Plaza on the Wii U at a time.
Wow. 300.
That's I mean I could have the number wrong, but I think it's around that
And then
number.
do they all have different dialogue? Do they all say different things? Or
There,
does it
I
kind of
want to say
overlap at
there's
some point?
8 different personalities.
Oh, okay.
So there's like the jock, there's the snooty, there's the peppy. But I think that they do have, there is like individualism. So like there's certain things that jocks will all say, and then there's certain things that an individual character will only say.
That is crazy. That is insane.
It's a lot of text.
Yeah.
And then you can further customize it with the stuff that you want to tell them. So that's always
Right.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got all, because there's already a lot of crazy puns in the game in terms of animal names and stuff. But I just like amp it up, take it further. I've got pigs saying baconator. I've got rabbits introducing themselves saying I'm all ears.
Right. It's a good chance to be creative. I'm really hoardish with clothes because I never know. Like I'll see, like ninja pants were in the store the other day,
Right.
And I'm like, God, that'd be great. But I know that I remember
It'll
seeing
be
the ninja
months
hat
before you see the.
I
Yeah.
remember seeing the ninja hat, and I didn't want to buy the ninja hat. But when I saw the pants, all of a sudden I had a completely different perspective on the ninja outfit.
Yeah.
And so now I have the ninja pants along with all these other pants that I don't have any of the other, things to tie them into.
That's
And
where
so,
getting it.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
completely
is
unwilling to
huge.
sell everything because I want.
Do you run into the situation where you're like, oh, these pants, they're going to be amazing to me. I'm just going to buy them now, and then when I see the shirt, I'll remember that, I wanted the shirt to go with the pants. And then the situation I run into is I get the pants, and then like a week goes by, and I see the shirt, and I'm like, oh, that shirt's ugly.
Yeah.
And because I forget that I have the pants. And
Oh,
it's just
but
like,
you see,
I
again,
have all these
that's
bits
where
and pieces.
community comes in.
Yeah.
Like when you get into groups because, one of the things is your shops, like there's, kind of like how Pokemon has the A and B or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
like people have different sets of rarity for their shops. So something that you might hardly ever see could actually be fairly common in somebody else's shop.
Oh, okay.
So you communicate with people, tell people what you're looking for, and people generally come through. Like there's a private group that I'm in, and I just got you in there, and then there's.
So wait, this game makes you make friends with people?
Yeah.
It makes you make friends with people.
Man.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've
It's kind of restricting, don't you think?
I met up. So there was me, and there's a girl I know. Actually, I don't know, but from the community I've met in France, and we both had lost our opportunity to start planning perfect fruit. We got saw perfect oranges, didn't know what perfect fruit were all about. Especially me, because it was before anyone knew anything about the game.
So once you pick your perfect fruit, you don't get that back?
It's very rare. I
Wow.
think it can grow back, but generally, there's that one that comes early on, and
Everyone picks it. It's
everyone
like, oh,
picks
that's
it, everyone sells it, and
nobody
then they
knows
don't
better.
have that opportunity. They don't know to just start planting it.
Yeah. So if
Um,
you've not started the game yet and you see a perfect fruit, don't pick it.
or pick it, but
Pick it
plant
and plant it.
Yeah, don't sell it.
Yeah.
I sold it.
But anyways, so I was asking around for perfect oranges, and I was like, and I've been doing it for weeks, off and on. I wasn't spamming people, but every once in a while I'd pop in and see if anyone had anything. So I did one last ask on NeoGAF, anyone have some perfect oranges on Sunday, and then I had an emergency. I had to leave my 3DS at home and go do something. And I came back, and there's a bundle of perfect oranges on the ground.
Oh,
And you don't
that's
know.
It was great.
Just
And so,
somebody from NeoGAF. You have no idea.
I know
got
who
them?
it was.
Oh, okay.
But because I had to be friends with him anyways. But so that was great. So I was I planted one, and then I put the other two in storage, and then I messaged the person in the Facebook group in France, and hey, I've got them, come over, and she came over the next morning, and I gave her one, and I've got another one as a backup in case something goes wrong for either one of us.
So I have a question. Why do you think Animal Crossing makes you care about your clothes or oranges? Why do you care? Why do you care about your pants?
I think I have an answer to that.
Yeah.
Right? I pretty much wear jeans and t-shirt in real life
Yeah,
every
yeah,
single
yeah.
day, right?
Mhm.
But in the reason I don't make an effort to wear better clothes or buy all that stuff is because I can't, right? I'm limited. But I can just go to, retail or, the Nook Brothers, and they'll be like, hey, here's some stuff. And if you want it, you can just go buy some bells. And it's so easy to do. I can't buy a house, but
Yeah.
I can in Animal Crossing, and it's so easy to
Pay
make
it
it
off
whatever
by
I
catching
want.
bugs.
You know, so yeah, it's kind of weird.
You just like that freedom to buy things?
Yeah, it's you can get all of this crazy stuff. Like Brandon Jones right now on his 3DS has a space room, right?
Yeah,
He
he'll never
can't
have
make
that
a
room in
space
real
room
life.
in real life.
Yeah, you're right.
I've tried.
You know?
I think also character customization is not that rampant when you think about it. I mean, if you look at all the major games,
Yeah.
like your Gears of War, your Uncharted, you can't change what these people look like. You can maybe change them in multiplayer. That's why they have the big divide, but they don't want you messing with their main character. The Final Fantasy franchise, even though the online games let you customize stuff, the main games never have. Doesn't matter what you're actually wearing. Your character's a specific
and plus,
style.
with
So
the
you're
pro
saying-
designs now, people have been making some pretty amazing stuff. Like frilly, lacy dresses and uniforms and things like that.
I mean, I've always thought Animal Crossing was like the RPG where you don't leave the town, and
That's a nice
I think
phrase for it,
it
yeah.
has that MMO vibe of going back to this world. I feel same way about Animal Crossing is when I would go to Darnassus and as a night elf in Warcraft and be like, oh, it's my home, and so it's just fun to customize because again, not a lot of games outside of RPGs that take hours and hours and hours to get to all the content. I think they don't have that stuff available. They don't do it.
I feel like this is a pretty obvious thing, and I know maybe this is why some people consider Animal Crossing boring, but it's kind of nice not killing things for once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Touché.
I'm not going in there and I'm not being like, okay, well, I want my character to look this way, so I'm gonna kill 1,000 rats to do it.
Yeah.
No, it's just I'm gonna go talk to my neighbors. If I help them out, maybe they'll give me a present.
It's the
I like
anti-monster
that.
hunter.
You're killing time.
It seems like such a simple thing to say, but I'm never stressed out or angry at Animal Crossing. It's just happy, and that's nice.
Well, I was angry when a guy moved in to my town. That was a lesson early on that if anybody's getting into the game, if there's any place that's sacred to you, put a lamp or something next to it that somebody can't demolish.
Yeah. Well, the other trick has been if you don't have it already on, like if the game is shut down, like people have been doing, like if they know somebody's moving in, they'll start up a new character and check to see where their house is, and if it's in someplace bad, they'll like, close it and then check again, and just get to that point to where they can save and then save. Okay, this is where the house is going to be. This is where I like it.
Oh, so it's randomized. It's randomized where the person appears. Got it.
Yeah. So, but basically, they're like, they're allowing them to check in a way that the game won't save, because if they go to their main town, the game will save as soon as you start it.
Got it. That's
but
funny.
if you have a new character, the game doesn't save until a certain point.
That's
all these weird little tricks and hacks people have figured out to manipulate the town the way they want it.
Yeah, it seems against the spirit of the game a little bit to me.
A little bit, but like I had somebody just build a house right in the middle of my road. I'm like, this is kind of annoying.
I think that's the idea. That's like that's the point. That's the fun of it.
So, Blood, you reviewed the game. Has your opinion changed at all in the 3 months since you played it?
Good question.
Are there any games this year that you have played for 3 months that you were still playing months later?
No, I would say there's nothing else. It's hard to say, like whether I should have given it a higher number or not. Because some of the things, that I've said, that kind of bring it down. I mean, they're still fairly true. I mean, there's still sort of there is still sort of a tedium to it, and I think if you play it on the long term, I think you just kind of come to deal with that and learn, like you're not worried about how much text Blather's just going to spew out every time you go to donate a fossil. And you're like, yes, it would be a lot nicer if I could just like, here, give them back to me, and I'm done.
Yeah, like the fortune cookie thing is a 12-step process. Like every time he does the big wind up to be like, look what I'm like, come on, come on.
That was another thing with the fireworks this weekend. Somebody was like, they had spent like 40,000 bells on cookies to try to get just one item.
That would take an hour and a half.
And he got so sick of it, he just like he reached out and he was like, does anyone have an extra one of these? And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. And of course, my luck was the complete opposite, where I was just like, I got this, and I got pretty much the whole fireworks set in like 10 minutes after this guy had been trying for so long. It was like, and I let him come over and grab what he needed.
I think from a review standpoint, it's also difficult to tell how much of this material is being reused from the other games, because there have been. This is the fourth or the fifth?
This is the fourth.
The fourth officially. There was one on the 64 in Japan, right?
Right. So yeah, but I think well, I guess they did add a lot to the GameCube. So yeah, I guess it would be the fifth.
But it's like KK Rockabilly I finally got, and I put it in my jukebox and was like, I remember that tune. Because I cut the review for Animal Crossing on the DS, and I remember I put that song in the review. And so it's like, okay, how many new KK songs are we getting? How do we really know? How the heck are you going to find out?
A lot of extra versions now, though. There's like multiple DJ versions, and then there's the music box versions now.
Oh, okay.
So even the ones that are returning. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like some of the stuff is just super long term. There's so much I learned after the review about the game.
Why do you think this 3DS one is the one that took off? I think it's probably already.
I think the GameCube one took off as well, and the DS did pretty well.
I feel like this is probably already the most successful version of the game.
Are you gauging that just because of its success in the office? Like, is that kind of your main pulse?
No, I think in like it sold crazy in Japan as well. I think just sales numbers wise.
I think that sales were always pretty big in Japan, but I think I think it's just got a better social component than ever before.
It's the first version you could download digitally, which was a big thing for me.
Street
I literally downloaded it while we were doing E3 coverage. Like I had my I like snuck the Wi-Fi password just to grab it like hours early. Of course, I didn't have time to play it, but
yeah, that was funny.
I wonder if that helped.
Brandon had to secretly steal the Wi-Fi password because there were only 5 uses, and like some of them were for talent, some of them were for the people on air. And Brandon
a couple of those were
care.
for a major television broadcast.
He
stole. One of those was for me.
He stole Jeff
Keighley's
password just so he could download Animal Crossing.
I'm gonna get fired.
But that was really funny. I loved that.
It was a games broadcast, it's all.
Yeah. And then once you downloaded it, you're like, here, you can have this password back. I don't need it. You just were doing what you got to do.
So, so Kyle, do you think you'll make it the full 365 with the Animal Crossing? Do you see yourself picking it up when the game is at its 1-year anniversary and actually going through your town and checking stuff out?
Maybe. I feel like I've done my duty as mayor. I feel like I've set up the town. It looks good. Isabel takes care of things while I'm gone. I mean, there's some weeds will pop up, but like if they can't handle the weeds, they're on their own.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that the thing is because I kind of with the DS one, like I had like my period, and then you know, I kind of let it go for a while.
Yeah.
But then once a new season came around, it like got me hooked all over again. You
And
know?
like now you've got too many friends. You have people who rely on you. It sounds like you've got this whole like social network of like reliance and people who are like, hey, Bloodworth, you got some oranges?
yeah, I have somebody coming over today to invite a villager to her town.
That is insane. That is unique to Animal Crossing. You know, that's a really interesting thing about it. I think.
So I think that's your answer to the question, Bloodworth. Is you will be probably playing this for the certainly not investing as many hours as you do on a weekly basis, but it won't be that out of the ordinary for you. Like on Halloween, you're like, of course I'm gonna pop in and check things out. Like on Christmas, like, of course, or right when the seasons change.
Which again is why it works so much better as a portable game because
it's amazing.
At Christmas on a home console, like I might be traveling, I might not be bringing that console with me, but with the 3DS, like it's always there, especially if you have it digitally.
And because I was gonna say I downloaded it digitally, so it's always there. How about you? Are you gonna stick around?
Yeah, I think so. I decided today, right before we shot this, that anything that isn't already placed in my house, I'm just gonna sell. I'm not gonna look at what it is. I have to let go of my hoarder tendencies. So I've really grown.
Congrats.
Animal Crossing
Yeah.
has let me grow a lot as a person. Yeah. Definitely.
And your confident mayorship, I'm also envious of. Good job.
Why?
Kyle,
What do
for
you
really-
feel? How do you feel about yourself as a mayor?
I've definitely gotten out just because I'm not interested in the other stuff that they have to offer. Like
Right.
I got, I think I'm good with 2 bridges. I don't necessarily need a third.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
good
we're
with,
kinda
with
going
2 bridges.
works.
That depends on your layout. Like
Yeah.
some towns need a
I
third
don't
bridge
like
and some
a couple
don't.
of my houses are rooms are super tiny. I'm okay. I think I got about like 1.4 mil in the bank. I'm just like dropping stuff in whenever my purse gets too full. But at least once a month, I'm gonna have to accept that I'm gonna stop playing it and lose some friends, which sucks. There's definitely some people in my town I'd like to have stick around. But at least once a month, and of course on holidays, that'll be a nice little treat, a nice way to button like special events throughout the year to be like, oh yeah, there's my town.
Yeah.
There's that constant save file that never goes away.
You guys are in a lot better shape than I am. Like Kyle's like this confident mayor. Like Brendan's dropping a little bit into his bank, which already has millions. Like Bloodworth has this whole like Animal Crossing network. I just went bankrupt and my house is full of crap.
Yeah, you're a little weirdo mayor. It's just, I gotta sell all these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll take them.
But it's there's your real life personality, and then there's your Animal Crossing personality. And what does that say about you?
Yeah, well,
as a mayor?
actually, that is kind of interesting because like this Facebook group we're in, like it's basically industry people and their friends and family, but like we don't interact with like, oh, this is that guy from that company or anything. Like we don't really even talk about that stuff at all. Like you might hear about somebody's husband or boyfriend or girlfriend or something, but like
No
you don't
relationships
hear
born
you
of
don't
Animal
hear
Crossing.
about like what they're doing at work or anything.
Because
right?
you only care about the Animal Crossing.
I wonder if there's people that are having
Yeah.
affairs in Animal Crossing.
I'm gonna say definitely.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say there is one person who is having an affair in Animal Crossing right now.
because there are full
Uh-oh.
relationships in MMOs. Like those happen.
Yeah,
There are
yeah,
people that are
exactly.
like we're just dating.
gotta
in
believe
this
that's
MMO.
happening.
Like craziness. Well, we could go on for another full year about this game, but I think we're going to wrap it up in the interest of time. Thank you for tuning in. We may do another one of these 6 months down the road. Who knows? It's like, and there could be more updates digitally. They could change
yeah.
some stuff.
I really want-
It'll be interesting to see what kind of coverage Nintendo does for this game in the future.
Make the grass grow faster.
Exactly. But thanks for tuning in. See you in our towns.